quickly. We started this in February. In February 2025. This investigation started in February 2025. And it is now that we have the results. As I have also told you, the oral reports are still coming into my office. Now, those who are pushing me to go to court and who are saying that by now convictions should have been obtained, I know you are Ghanaians, you have legitimate expectations of your government officials, including the president and the attorney general. But we need to do a good job. Accountability costs resources. Accountability, takes time. And so it is important that Ghanaians are patient so that we have the kind of results that I'm announcing today. Not that I will rush to court. Defense lawyers will come and raise objections, throw my case out, and then the same Ghanaians who wanted me to go to court expeditiously will now turn around and say that Ayine is an incompetent attorney general. I was never an incompetent lawyer in private practice. I don't want to be an incompetent lawyer in public service. So I want us to take our time to do the kind of work that I'm announcing today. And I want to also let you know that I'm under no pressure from any quarters to cut any deals. Mr. President, who is my boss, has never put pressure on me. On the contrary, when I brief him, he gives me his blessing. He doesn't even express an opinion one way or the other. He says, Dominic, I've heard you. All right? The chief of staff has never put pressure on me to cut a deal with anybody. The secretary to the president, Dr. Kalisus Mahama, has never put pressure on me. On the contrary, he encourages me. He says the work is stressful, but I should keep on. The legal counsel to the president, my former boss, has never put pressure on me to cut any deal. Offers have been made, and I have turned all of them down. I have told everybody, please go to the court. If you want a pleas deal, I'm filing cases. In the Wontumi case, offers were made to us for a plea deal. I said, no, I'm filing charges. If you want, announce your intention for a plea deal to the judge. That is now my strategy. The MPP took advantage of my saying that I'm open to to having plea deals to say, okay, that I was busy cutting deals in the office. No deal has been cut, and no deal will be cut except under the auspices of the court of competent jurisdiction. That is what I have decided, and that is what we are going to do, going forward. Lastly, we have frozen all the assets of Anan that I have listed, including a 10 million Ghana cedis fixed deposit account at Republic Bank, Labone branch. That is the liquid assets. They also, had a lot of bags. I didn't want to list them. The wife has over 61 luxury bags. All right, name them. He himself was buying watches, some costing as much as 1.5 million Ghana cedis and so on. We have taken note of all of them, and so we've done the freezing, including those of the vehicles. So on account of the foregoing, we have decided to charge Mr. Hanan Abdul Wahab and his wife, Faiza Seydou Wuni, with stealing, conspiracy to steal, causing financial loss to the state, using public office for profit, obtaining public property by false statements, and money laundering. The charges will be filed on Friday, and I have the charge sheet, the draft charge sheet, which I am reviewing here for everybody to see, so that nobody goes to say that I have indicted somebody and I don't have charges. I have my charges ready. From now onwards, when we are announcing the conclusion of investigations, we are either contemporaneously filing charges or we are filing them immediately thereafter. Okay, so this is what I have for you today. I hope that Ghanaians will bear with us to do an excellent job for this republic. The oral will work. Forget about those who are paying bloggers to blog that oral is failing. Oral is on course and will work for the good of the people of this country. We will exact accountability to the extent justifiable by law. As I said, I will not do anything outside the law for political expediency reasons. I won't. So thank you, and God bless all of you.
All right. Thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General, for that concise but fact-laden presentation. I know that there are important questions lingering on the minds of media persons present. So at this juncture, I would invite you to come to the microphone with any questions that you may have in order that the Attorney General answers them to clear all doubts. As is the rubric here, because of time, you are limited to one question each. And please avoid lengthy preambles so we can maximize the time left. Thank you very much. Identify yourself, your media organization, and shoot.
Okay, Minister, my name is Abdul Hanan Adam. Please, some of my colleagues, yes, please.
You are not the Hanan in question.
I'm begging you. Yes, some of my colleagues, especially Marshal Agbagba.
I'm pointing fingers at you.
Please, please. My name is Abdul Hanan Adam. Yes.
All right.
Minister, I want to find out the case of the former finance minister is one that has come up, especially this week. And the OSP has also issued a statement to that effect after your deputy granted interviews to that effect. What is the current state of that issue, and when should we expect you to officially put in a formal request for the former finance minister to be extradited to Ghana to face prosecution? And secondly, with my namesake case, if you say you have formally charged him and some of the properties have been confiscated, what do you intend? Sorry, you've frozen it. Sorry, what do you intend to do with these properties? Do you intend to sell it off or to put it under the care of the state? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions, please? These all those with questions should move towards the microphone. Okay, I would invite the Attorney General to answer the question that was just asked, even as other journalists prepare to ask questions. Please. Yeah, all right.
Yeah. With respect to Hanan, if we are looking for one Hanan and we don't get him, we may come for another Hanan. So, two questions. One is in respect of the former finance minister. There has been a lot of talk on both mainstream and social media regarding what is happening. All right. In a nutshell, the processes have begun for the request to be made. The point is that the request to be made to the American authorities. When doing extradition, you cannot make a request unless you have a solid case, a docket that has been built. And in the case of the Americans, the practice is for you to have filed charges. And so, for instance, when Kofi Boateng, when we extradited Kofi Boateng, Kojo Boateng, to the U.S. on the request of the Justice Department of the United States, the Justice Department actually sent me what they call the bail of indictment. All right, that's the charge. Those are the charges. They sent me the charges, the supporting facts, and everything. And ladies and gentlemen, they spent 6 years investigating the syndicate of criminals that included, Kojo Boateng. 6 years. All right. So the point that we have made, that my deputy made, is that without a docket, we cannot make the request. So we are still waiting for the docket. That is all I can say for now. I've read everything that has been said by the OSP and his office. I respect his office. I respect the autonomy of the office and so on. Okay, but we in the Attorney General's department cannot begin an extradition request with a bare letter. We need the evidence to be able to do so. That's all I can say. So the formal processes have started. Then, what do we wish to do with the properties? Well, when they are handed over to the state, the appropriate authorities will know what to do with them. Okay, so for instance, in respect of the real estate, it will be the Ministry of Works and Housing that will take proper custody of them and then be able to determine to what use they will be put by the Republic. If it is also the case that we should auction them and then put the money into the consolidated account, that decision will be taken by Cabinet, and then we will continue from there. All right. But it's as Mandela said, it's a long road to, a long walk to freedom. All right. This is a long haul because no criminal that has been indicted will, stand idle when you are doing confiscation proceedings. So definitely, and the people we are talking about, they have a lot of cash. If it is not in the bank, it is somewhere, and they'll hire some of the best legal minds to come and meet me in court. So we will be fighting, the battle on behalf of the people of this country. Are there any other questions?
If there are any other questions, we will invite them at this juncture. Otherwise, we call it a day. Please step up.
Yes. My name is Julius. I report for the Ghanaian Times. Mr. Minister, throughout the presentation, you keep calling on Ghanaians to be patient with you as you, in your words, painstakingly do some due diligence before you proceed to court. How do you feel when people say prosecutions are delaying? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Hanan.
Okay, Minister Hanan is back again. Minister, I also want to find out, you just announced that Hanan and his wife have been formally charged. I want to find out from you, the list of oral cases that you've mentioned, have they also been charged or yet to be charged? Thank you.
I think he provided the answer in the brief, but for your benefit and those who may not have heard him, he will reiterate that point. Yes, Max, you can come to the microphone here.
Okay, Maxwell Ababa, Joy FM, Joy News. Okay, from the briefing, it appears that the real estate companies, some way, somehow, I know a minister raised this issue once, a former minister raised this issue once and became very controversial, so I want to tread cautiously, that the real estate companies are being used, it appears, are being used to launder, money, especially public funds. I want to find out from the AG if he has any plans to tighten, regulations, especially regarding purchases when it comes to real estate businesses and then, state officials and all of that. The second question is on the National Cathedral. I remember sometime in July, 3 months ago, the AG was tasked by the president to take legitimate and legal steps to terminate the National Cathedral contract, and then also take legal steps to dissolve the Board of Trustees. I want to find out from the AG what the update is regarding that. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Max. Yeah, Kester.
My name is Kester Crunchy. I write for the Daily Graphic. My first question is regards the setting up of the special courts to prosecute galamseyers and people who steal money from the government. I wanted to know from the Auditor General, the Attorney General, the relationship he has with the Auditor General now. What kind of collaboration is he having with the Auditor General? Because over the past few weeks, he's made a lot of revelations about how much money he is charging people and the collaboration he needs from the Auditor General.
I think we also take advantage to brief you on the outcome of the meetings.
Yes, exactly, with the president.
On Monday, with the president on the matter.
The second one is with the Office of the Special Prosecutor. I know he has spoken about it, but today the Office of the Special Prosecutor, the Special Prosecutor himself said he's collaborating with your office. But that was not the indication we had when your deputy spoke to the media. It looked like they had made some requests and was not forthcoming. So I wanted to know from you what kind of relationship is between your office and then the Office of the Special Prosecutor and then the Office of the Attorney General, because both of them need some collaboration with you to execute their mandates. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We will take a final question if there's any. Otherwise, the Attorney General will answer this batch of questions and we'll call it a day. Mr. Attorney General, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the questions. The question of how I feel when people say, you know, the oral cases are delaying, I feel frustrated because the work of prosecution is not done by the Attorney General alone. The Attorney General depends on investigators for the raw material to be able to prosecute. So today's announcement of the Rumble in the Jungle is from investigations over the last 8 months. Excellent work done by Mr. Raymond Archer of the Economic and Organized Crime Office and his team. And I want to thank them very much for the wonderful work that they are doing. The oral investigations, also excellent work, is being done by the National Intelligence Bureau. As for them, we don't mention their names. And they are the ones in charge of the 34 instances or cases that were implicated in the oral committee report. And they are also doing excellent work. You can see from the charges we filed in national service cases that they did an excellent job. You can also see from my briefing on the DRIP case that they are doing an excellent job. So the point is that I have to wait patiently for all these entities to do their work and do the work very well, including, of course, the Financial Intelligence Center. And again, I want to extend, thanks to my junior brother, Kojo Chumbuafo. As for him, I can mention his name. He has been very, very, very critical when we talk about all these bank statements and analysis of bank data. Without him, we can't obtain them. Okay? So there are times that I call him at 2 a.m. because I'm reading an oral report and they need to fill in information about bank records, and I call him and say, in the morning, can I get this when you get to the office? And within 2 hours, he'll go and threaten bank managers and get the information for me. All right? So I will zoom into the next question, which is, when. I already said that the dockets, some have started, dockets have been built in others. When the docket comes, we will advise whether there is a prosecutable case. If there is no prosecutable case, and there will be instances where the investigators will differ from the complaints in the oral report, okay, because they have investigated and come to the conclusion that there are no acts of criminality. If that is the case, we'll just advise that the docket be closed, all right? Otherwise, we'll proceed to investigation. Then the question about real, estate companies and money laundering. That's an excellent one. I remember you said, a certain minister said it. It's the Honorable Sam George who spoke about it, some time ago, about a link between money laundering and real estate, development. Now look at the skyline of Accra. All right? Look at the skyline. It's changing rapidly. So my junior brother Kojo Chumbuafo and I are, collaborating to do something about it. It's not that we don't want the skyline to change. I want that when I'm flying in from anywhere, the skyline of Accra should look like the skyline of New York City. But it must be done with legitimate money. It must be done by hard-working real estate developers who have decided that they want to change the skyline and make business and make profit. So Kojo Chumbuafo's FIC and I will be collaborating on that aspect of the problem. Then the National Cathedral Contract Termination and Board of Trustees. I've just announced that the Auditor General has asked one of the big four to do a forensic audit on National Cathedral. The audit, we gave them 8 weeks. I think we've done about 5 weeks now. So maybe in 3 weeks, and you the journalist, when I say maybe in 3 weeks, next time I'm here, you said Cathedral in 3 weeks you get the reason, you have it, you don't have it. No. They may ask for an extension. Okay? So maybe in 3 weeks we'll get a forensic audit report. It is at that point in time that I will decide, how to terminate. Okay, because in every contract, there is a basis for termination, and that depends on the facts and the evidence. You cannot just terminate, a contract without a basis. I don't want any situation. The fact that we are investigating a crime doesn't mean that the companies involved did not do legitimate work. Somebody dug the hole and had to be paid to dig the hole. Okay, and if they were not overpaid, or they were paid and then they decided to give money as kickback to somebody. If I find a kickback situation, that is a crime. But otherwise, they are entitled to their money. Okay, so we will look at the findings of the forensic report before we do the termination of the contract. As for the Board of Trustees, the dissolution of the Board of Trustees, we are taking steps, to ensure that happens. Now, the next question. So, Maxwell, I hope I've answered your questions very well. Now, the relationship between the Attorney General's office and that of the Auditor General, we work excellently together. Okay, and as the Minister for Government Communications indicated earlier, our collaboration is continuing, especially in respect to the Auditor General's report, the annual report submitted to Parliament. The President is serious that we should take that aspect of the work, and then make sure that those who are found to have engaged in infractions, are punished. And so, Mr. President met with us, not only myself and the Auditor General, but also the Chief Justice of the Republic and his team. And the idea is for us to set up special courts that are designated and given the mandate to deal exclusively with matters raised in the Auditor General's report that border on criminality. And we are going to take a two-pronged approach. Okay, one approach is criminal prosecution. The other is the exercise of the power of disallowance and surcharge under Article 187 of the Constitution. That power is granted to the Auditor General. The Auditor General can disallow an expenditure on the basis that the expenditure is illegal, unlawful, or or criminal, and then where it is criminal, refer the matter to me, or where it is simply a matter of civil law, impose a surcharge, disallow the expenditure, and impose a surcharge. So we are going to adopt the two approaches and then make sure that we succeed in making the Auditor General report meaningful to Ghanaians. Then OSP says he is collaborating with my office. That is true. You've seen the exchanges. Yes, we are collaborating. All right. Maybe the pace of collaboration is not something that I have, that I am happy about. And I don't think that Ghanaians are also happy about the pace at which we are collaborating. All right. But yes, the office of the Special Prosecutor and my office are collaborating. I thank you all, and God bless all of you. Thank you for coming.
Thank you very much, Honorable Attorney General. And thank you very much, members of the media, for attending upon us once again. We will continue to bring you reports on the performance of governments in various sectors. And we trust that the collaboration that exists, which we are very happy about, incidentally, will continue to flourish so that collectively we can keep the people of Ghana informed. So until we meet next time, have a good day. Thank you very much.
Former appointees in the public domain. Such Thank you very much for staying with us. This is News Central, but over the last, half hour, near half hour plus, we've been at the presidency, the Jubilee House to be specific,
which was used as a safeguard to help the young, learners to learn, which Parliament has gone or picked that channel, and now that channel is not being used to teach the kids. Was it difficult for Parliament to really get a channel rather than closing down the learning channel and using same for parliamentary assignment? Thank you.
We'll end the question time with Felix.
Yeah, Leader. My name is Felix. Yeah, I work with Express News. First of all, Leader, I want to know from you, you made mention that the government intend going into the 1D, 1F, where tax waivers were granted, you want to do some audits form of. Can you clarify as to in which way this audit will take place, and whether this government will not grant tax waivers to factories? And then second, we heard in the news that the government intends introducing a bill for legal education reforms. May we know whether that bill has been brought to Parliament or on its way coming? Thank you.
I am Christian Yale from TV33 FM. This goes to Honorable Mahama Yaliga. I want to make a follow-up on an earlier submission you made on the anti-LGBTQ bill that Parliament passed the last time. We understand, and this is a constitutional issue, we understand that when a bill is passed by Parliament and it is not assented to by the President, it dies with that particular Parliament. Here we've even seen that there are changes to the proponent. The last time there were 8, now they are 10. Some old ones are out, there are new faces. How do you explain this? If you maintain that it was passed and so ordinarily it shouldn't be brought back, how do you just oppose it, knowing that ordinarily it must have died with the 8th Parliament, as a matter of fact?
We will now take responses from leadership.
All right, so since I have just 2 questions, I will do this so quickly so that leader can take up the rest, and after that I'll take your leave. Deputy leader will be here if there's a need for any follow-up. I think she has what it takes to respond to. First, on the issue of Galamsey. Sir, I agree with the sentiment you expressed. And I think what I said on the House floor echoes my own position on this Galamsey. Somewhere 2015, I will call it our ancestral cocoa farm in the Asin Fosu area. My cousins approached me that they needed money to buy the machine, what do you call it? Excavator. And I told them, why? This is a farm that great-grandfather, all of you go there, farm, make money. We know, since we were kids, that we have a cocoa farm there. Why? He said, oh, Obia richenu cocoa egufom, gold na abano, oman kofu nyeska. I'm just quoting them. I felt very sad. Not too long after that, Honorable Setekwe, at a finance committee hearing, lamented how Galamsey was affecting cocoa production. But prior to that, we know of the Anas Arimayel expose in 2010. I think that we must be collective. We, the political parties, must be collective and see that Galamsey as a common enemy. Because you see, when President Akufo-Addo boldly announced to the Ghanaian public that, look, I am even putting my presidency on the line, he meant well. But it is not President Akufo-Addo who would go into the forest in person. He has to implement that policy, that pledge, through people. And that is where we had challenges. I again recall that some constituents in the early days of the Galamsey fight had come to me that, oh, it looks like their friends are calling them to go back. Because these were fishermen who had been recruited to work on people's land, sites. And because of the fight, they had come home to do their fishing. And they had been called to go back. What was it? Per what they told me, oh, the soldiers allowed them to do it in the night, and they take some money from them. So their guys were calling them that, oh, there's still business, so come back and do it. The point I want to make here is that because of the partisan approach to it, these people who are involved in the business get protection. Because look at it. In 2020 elections, MPP lost all the mining areas. And there are videos where our friends in the NDC were there in these constituencies telling them that, oh, they are sacking you, they are denying you of your bread. So when we come, we will find a way of giving you cover or protection. There are videos, credible videos. So in the end, it became a partisan thing. But when those water bodies are polluted, like recently the Ayensu situation, the Ayensu River was so much polluted, those who drink are not covered by partisan colors. They are Ghanaians. The food we buy in Accra, the cassava, the vegetables, all of us are at risk. So for me, I will concede that political leaders could have handled this better if the enthusiasm, the momentum that civil society, then led by my good friend and senior brother from Chiame, Ken Ashigbe, you know, what they started with City FM way back. If the political parties had given it the needed support, I'm sure would have gotten somewhere. So, unto my friends, I give them my word as a leader of the minority in parliament. I'm ready to support them if they themselves are more than ready to confront the issue head on. So far, because they seem to be benefiting from this gold board is buying gold. You know, these same galamseyers are selling to the gold board. Is there any mechanism to determine which gold is coming from the right source? And because the money is coming for them to stabilize the economy, stabilize the city, they are pretending, you know, that they don't know the sources of much of the gold that they are getting. But if we are ready, they are ready, because they have the government now. They have the authority of states. If they are ready, trust me, outside in parliament, I would lead my colleagues to support government to deal with this, because Galamsey is affecting my constituency. Though my constituents are not involved in Galamsey, the water we drink comes from upstream, all the way from the eastern region. Ayensu, we know where Ayensu flows from, all the way and ends in Winneba. So that's one thing. On the second issue of whether or not Parliament is broke, I'm sorry, as for that, I'm unable to answer. I will rely on the public statement that was issued by Mr. Speaker to explain why Parliament could not reconvene. He said, quote, circumstances beyond my control, end quote. So I don't have any other answer. Leader of Government Business is here. If he has some other information, he may share, but I would want to rely on what Mr. Speaker himself put out as a reason for not being able to get Parliament to reconvene. As to being broke and all that, they are your words. I don't know about it. So, colleagues, thank you for indulging me. Leader, I don't leave here out of disrespect. Bear with me. I have a pre-arranged meeting. I need to leave. I leave you with two able, your own mother is here. Don't bully her. Don't bully your mother. Don't bully your mother. And then your junior brother Jerry is here. Or you will leave for the two deputies. Yes, I think so. Or what do you think? Let's vote on this. The two leaders can leave. Then the deputies can. The monkeys play by sizes. I'm not too comfortable leaving my mother in your hands. So let's go.
He answered the questions that were posed to him, so let me just answer the ones that were posed to me as well, after which I can also leave, and our deputies may continue. Okay, so let's start with the last item, which is the fight against Galamsey. Truth of the matter is, I have been listening to the discussions, and I know it is something that we are all very passionate about. Whenever there's any threat to life, our reaction is generally different, and it can get very emotional. And in the midst of the emotions, facts get lost, okay? So first thing is, the president and the government have clearly indicated a commitment to fight Galamsey. What have we done? Government has indicated all the steps that have been taken. You know, we've always been involved in small-scale mining activities. And we've always lived with small-scale mining activities. I recall when I was a law student, I was a research assistant to a teaching assistant, actually, of Fui Chikata, who was lecturing natural resources law. And he recruited me to do research, field research on small-scale mining practices and activities, because at that time, he was trying to propose legislation to govern small-scale mining activities. We're talking about 26, 27 years ago. And I did go around the country with a geologist, 27 years ago, with a geologist from Geoman Consult. I don't know if any of you knows Geoman Consult. And we went from community to community where small-scale mining activities, which is what Galamsey is, small-scale mining activities, unless the person engaged in the activity has a license. If you don't have a license, it is Galamsey. If you have a license, it is called small-scale mining. And it is in degrees. You have artisanal mining, which is what a lot of our young boys are engaged in, where they go and they just feel that there's gold here, and they start digging with pickaxes, with shovels, with headpans, and then they are carrying it to locations where they do the washing. That one is called artisanal mining. And it's been happening for years, in fact, for centuries. That's how mining was done. until the Europeans came with large-scale mining activity where they introduced excavators and mechanized mining. Otherwise, we're doing artisanal, and the artisanal has persisted up to date. What was Ghana's problem? Ghana's problem started when people discovered that they could bring Chinese to come and join them, and the Chinese could afford machines, and they will work with the Ghanaians so that what I could use my pickaxe to dig for a month, the Chinese would dig out with their excavators in 2 days. So the level of exploitation accelerated through the utilization of machines. So the movement from artisanal hand digging by our young people who are unemployed and think that if they dig and get something, they can also sustain themselves. The movement from there to the use of excavators and dozers is what really became our problem. That was the real issue, because the scale just got huge within a very short period of time. So this government took a decision that we have to deal with that part of the problem. Hence the decision that we will seize every equipment that we find to stop that rapid, deterioration that is happening. And as at July, when the media briefing of the Minister for Mines occurred on the 23rd of July, he indicated that we had seized 177 excavators. 177 excavators, 4 bulldozers, 12 vehicles, 43 motorcycles, 155 pumping machines, 184 changfangs, 15 detector machines, 10 heavy-duty generators, and arrested over 1,345 people. Now, for those who are interested in the fight against Galamsey, when government says this, what I expect is to go out and confirm if this number of seizures did occur. Because if you're actually able to seize 177 excavators and stop them from working, do the calculation from the date of the seizure up to date. If those 177 excavators were actually on the ground excavating on a daily basis, calculate the level of damage that those excavators would have done to our Earth's surface. Then the volume of ore that they would have excavated and how much washing would have taken place, and etc. I expect that to happen. The second thing government decided to do was to block all importation of excavators. Arrest excavators in the field, block importation of excavators. So government has announced that we have hundreds of excavators parked at the port because we won't allow you to clear them. Before you clear, you have to come and establish that government has given you a contract and you are going to use the equipment to go and perform the contract. So the whole scrutiny of what you are going to use the excavators for has deterred many people from importing excavators. So I expect you to go to the port to find out, indeed, have they blocked excavators from coming into the country? The hundreds that government say we have blocked, are they actually there? Secondly, government says we are going to introduce surveillance of the movement of excavators everywhere in the country. So trackers will be installed in every excavator and every earth-moving equipment. So we can geo-monitor every earth-moving equipment to see where an excavator has moved and what it is doing there. Let me tell you, from my experience, I was Minister for Environment, and my job was really to deal with this issue. From my experience, the greatest thing that you can do is to take the excavators out of the system, to take the dozers out of the system, to take the chamfangs out of the system, because you would have reduced the problem from 100 to like 20. The 20 is the young people who are now there with their pickaxes and shovels, and they are digging. The rate at which they are going to do it is usually very, very slow, because human energy has its limitations. And the numbers can't just increase astronomically. So there has been a major progress in slowing down the process of, destruction of the environment through Galamsey events. And I just want you to go to the field and check. I expect anybody who really wants to accurately report on the level of progress to go to a site and take an aerial view and tell me which part of that site was dug in the last 8 years and which part of that site was dug in the last 7 months or 9 months. Are you getting the point? Because when you are driving and you see destruction, you might think it happened yesterday. Yeah, you might think it happened yesterday. But it is digging that has taken place for maybe 10 years. Digging that has taken place over 10 years. I'm being very honest. You know me, I speak freely. And nobody can stop me from speaking my mind. Nobody. So that is a more honest and accurate mechanism for really assessing progress that has been made beyond the passion that I see. We're passionate about it, but are those the real facts on the ground? Have you really gone there to check? When he talks about corruption in the enforcement, very true. Very, very true. You send soldiers, the soldiers say, hallelujah, my bread has been buttered. I used to be environment minister. I will go to a Galamsey site, and then I will ask, but how did these excavators get here? Because on my way here, I passed 5 barriers. So if I pass 5 barriers, how did this excavator, because it didn't pass through the bush to get to this place, it's also passed on the same road. So we need to discipline our security agencies. No DCE can accurately say he doesn't know where Galamsey activities are taking place in his district. Then you are not supposed to be occupying that post as a DCE. Because everybody's jurisdiction, they know. If Galamsey is happening in Boku, I can tell you where it is happening and how. And I can actually tell you which are the boys who are there doing it. So no member of parliament sitting in this house can claim not to know what is happening in his constituency. Same as no DC can claim not to know what is happening in his constituency, district. Same as no regional or municipal security committee or council can claim not to know what is happening in their area. And no one can claim that we cannot stop Galamsey. How can we not stop Galamsey? If we can't stop it, then we are a failed state. Because this is something that is happening in broad daylight at a given location. You can't be carrying the thing around and doing it. So when we are chasing you, then you carry it to this place. No, it's the same location. So if we are paying a police service, we are paying an armed force from tax money, they can't claim that they cannot stop this. But I can assure you that so much progress has been made. Now, when it comes to the artisanal activity of young people digging and etc., that is why we introduced the community mining initiative, because we can't stop them all together. We need to move them to locations and manage them at those locations, because it's an economic activity. What are Ghanaians really worried about? First, the destruction to the environment. Two, the chemical pollution. That's the real issue. And for me, that again is what is being addressed by recruiting so many EPA officers. And I know the EPA department has recruited thousands of people to now deploy them to all those sites so that they can show the small-scale community miners exactly how to use the chemicals to avoid the pollution. Because the large-scale miners are also using the same chemicals. Mind you, they're also using the same chemicals. So but they are supervised by EPA. They have permits. They come to the site. They see how you have planned the mine. They see exactly where you are going to use chemicals, and then where you are going to dump the waste, and how you are going to treat the waste, and then water that you have used, how you are going to purify the water before you discharge the water into the environment. For the large-scale mines, the EPA is focusing and making sure that all these are done. So they need to also be present when the artisanal and small-scale miners are also doing that. Now, there are structural issues that we must address. And I, yesterday, gave hints. One, all the artisanal and small-scale miners that you have seen out there, they all want to operate legally. Every single one of them wants to operate legally. And I'm saying this because as a former Minister for Environment, I have visited many sites. And each time I engage the actors, they say, Minister, we want to operate legally. We want a license. Nobody who has money to buy an excavator, as I'm sitting here, I'm struggling to get equipment to do roads in my constituency. It is so expensive, you can't even afford it. Nobody who has money to buy an excavator and a dozer will claim that they don't have money to pay a license for a small-scale license so that they can operate there legally. Because he's invested in an excavator, a dozer, Shamfang, and he doesn't want it to be seized. Do you get it? But the challenge that they face is that they cannot get the licenses. Why can't they get the licenses? You now move to minerals commissions. You find out that each time they submit an application, they are met with a response that somebody has already applied for a prospecting license for that area. So it is in the name of somebody's company. Meanwhile, that person is not there. He is not prospecting. He is not investing in mining. And so there's no job opportunity for the young people. So the first thing that we have to do, which I have promised to do and which I actually hinted yesterday in my speech, is that we are going to call on the Minerals Commission to bring all the records of prospecting licenses. Let's see. Because each prospecting license depends on the size. Some of them are very small, but most of them are large, and they cover like 150 square kilometers, 77 square kilometers, 100 square kilometers. And people have plotted all these areas across the country in names that you cannot really establish who the names are. And then when these young people go to them, so give us a small space for us to do community mining, they say, oh, the place is clocked. Somebody has registered it as prospecting license. Some people have gone as far as plotting those places that they are very convinced have gold, and they have actually gone ahead to pay and obtain mining leases and are keeping it for years. And every year they just go there and then they pay the renewal, but they will not go there and invest in the mining. When the young people go and say, give us a small-scale license so that let's do it properly here, they are told that, oh, the mining lease, it belongs to somebody. So you can't get it. He looks around, he doesn't see anybody. He will start digging. He will start digging. The chief will say, go ahead and dig. I'm here. Anybody who says that he owns it, let him come and ask me, whatever question he has to ask. So people are accusing the chiefs. No, but the chiefs are sitting there. You have plotted the place. You have given it out to some ghost name. His children are sitting there unemployed. Your investor has not come to do large-scale mining so that he can get jobs for them and then livelihood opportunities for them. And then you are telling him that he should stop the children from digging. How is he going to stop them from digging? How else do you want them to live? So we must hold the Minerals Commission accountable. And then we must hold the EPA also accountable. EPA, and I used to head Ministry of Environment, and I know that if you don't present a license, even if they are sitting there, you are digging in front of them, they will say they have no right to interfere because you don't have a license. Even if they can come and guide you and say, look, you don't handle the mercury this way, you don't do it this way, you don't grind it this other way, that person would think they are being complicit in an illegality by going there to guide an illegal operator how he should carry out the activity in an environmentally, proper manner. So we need to address that issue as well, in addition to all the other efforts that government will put in place. I wish Minority Leader were here. He just said that he swears and he's ready to support, government to fight against Galamsey. At the beginning of the life of this parliament, if you all remember, we started first with a conference at Kempinski of MPs on how we can build a coalition of MPs to address the problem of small-scale mining. I don't know who remembers. At Kempinski. No, at Kempinski. It was widely covered. I mean, people remember where the Minister for Mines came and addressed us, where MPs were there. It happened. I organized it, so I know it happened. We invited the minority. He didn't come. He didn't. Not one single MP showed up. They treated it as an NDC MP's event. And from the beginning, the thing collapsed because there was no consensus to work together. You remember? Today, all over the place, I swear I'm ready to support. Let's stop the politics. Let's stop the politics. How ready are you to support? When we, from the beginning, we said, let's work together because I take a position that every
playing for your country, easy. Scoring, easy. Avoiding injuries, easy. Winning, easy. But you know what be easy now? Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Easy. It gets everything inside. Gary, creamer, sugar, roasted granules. Just add water, then sharp my soakings make ready. Taste and energy, made easy. I'm a match winner, but the real champion is Kivo 4-in-1 Gary mix. Champion taste.
This advert is FDA approved.